Today, life is filled with various creatures and creations. There are domestic and wild animals living around humans. There are also technological tools that make life easier for us. One might be tempted to ask, was Earth always like this? The simple answer is no. Life before now was not always like this. Humans didn't always roam and dominate the Earth. Some 245 to 66 million years ago, dinosaurs ruled the Earth. These scary lizard-like reptiles evolved from mostly dog and horse-sized creatures into the largest beasts that ever existed on land. Earth is constantly experiencing changes in its nature and inhabitants. So, even before dinosaurs, there were other giant creatures. But they were all wiped out during the largest extinction event in Earth's history, which scientists call the Great Dying. While researchers still debate what made Earth suddenly uninhabitable for life, new research from the University of Washington and Stanford University shows that the Permian mass extinction was caused by global warming, leaving animals unable to breathe. Okay, enough of this story of doom and gloom. It's time to take you on an epic journey of what Earth looked like before the age of dinosaurs. In order to make you understand the progression of our Earth, I'll use the geologic time scale to explain the transformation of life. Let's start our exploration of life before the age of dinosaurs with the story of Earth's formation. The Hadean Eon. The Hadean Eon marks our planet's formation about 4.6 billion years ago. This eon ended approximately 4 billion years ago, following the appearance of the first single-celled organisms. These organisms were the first signs of life on Earth, and they ushered in the Archean Eon. The Archean Eon consisted of Eoarchean, Paleoarchean, Mesoarchean, and Neoarchean eras. This period witnessed the late heavy bombardment of the Earth. Before the planets, including Earth, were formed, objects chaotically flew around to form them. Scientific evidence collected from the Moon shows that after Earth formed about 4.1 to 3.8 billion years ago, the Earth experienced a second significant spike of comets and asteroids in the event known as the Late Heavy Bombardment. It was during this period the Earth saw its first oceans and continents. The cooling of the Earth's crust spurred the formation of these oceans and continents. While scientists are conflicted about what the first continents looked like, some believe Earth's first landmass was a supercontinent called Ur. Others believe the supercontinent was known as Valbara. The single-celled life forms that emerged during this period left their mark in layered rocks that are known as stromatolites. Some of these rocks are 3.5 billion years old and found in Australia. It was during the Neoarchean era, about 2.8 billion years ago, that oxygenic photosynthesis began. This process was performed by algae and related microorganisms. It caused the release of oxygen molecules into the atmosphere. You should know that before oxygenic photosynthesis, there was no free oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere. This process aided the evolution of life, which had been impeded by the lack of oxygen. But the evolution did not stop there. It transported our Earth into the Proterozoic Eon. Proterozoic Eon. The Proterozoic Eon, which means earlier life, marks a period of huge advancements in the evolution of life following oxygenic photosynthesis. This eon started about 2.5 billion years ago and ended approximately 541 million years ago, at the time the first complex life forms showed up on Earth. It featured the Paleoproterozoic, Mesoproterozoic, and Neoproterozoic eras. During this period, Earth witnessed the Great Oxygenation Event that allowed for the evolution of aerobic organisms. However, anaerobic bacteria were not so lucky. This drastic environmental event decimated the anaerobic organisms, which could not survive in the face of free oxygen. The change did not stop there. An oxygenated world also significantly altered the planet's chemistry. For example, iron, which had remained in solution in the non-oxygenated environment, combined with free oxygen to form solid precipitates such as magnetite and hematite. In the Proterozoic Eon, lithospheric plates formed and moved according to plate tectonic forces similar to current times. The collision of the moving plates caused the ocean basins to form a supercontinent known as Rodinia. This supercontinent formed about 1 billion years ago and broke up between 750 and 600 million years ago at the end of the Proterozoic Eon. One of the fragments from the breakup was a continental mass known as Laurentia that later became North America. The Proterozoic Eon also marked the formation of the Earth's first glaciers. Some geologists even believe that the Earth's surface was frozen about 650 million years ago during the Neoproterozoic era. In the midst of these developments, plants and animals did not exist on Proterozoic land surfaces. So, the appearance of dinosaurs and other animals was still hundreds of millions of years away. The Proterozoic Eon ended the Precambrian Eon, one of the two major eons. The Precambrian Eon, which combines the Hadean, Archean, and Proterozoic eons, captures the formation of the Earth to the period that witnessed the first appearance of multicellular organisms, including early forms of algae. This goes from 4.5 billion years ago to about 540 million years ago. After the Proterozoic Eon, Earth witnessed the Phanerozoic Eon, the second major and most recent eon. But before we move to the second part of the eons, hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video so far. Your encouragement means so much to us. Now, back to business. The Phanerozoic Eon, which we live in, is subdivided into 3 eras, ranging from the oldest to the youngest. The eras are Paleozoic, the ancient life, Mesozoic, the middle life, and Cenozoic, the recent life. The Phanerozoic rock record includes a significant amount of fossils, which give scientists greater insights into the eon. While rocks and fossils from the Precambrian time are rarely found, Phanerozoic rocks are more common, younger, and feature most extant fossils. The Paleozoic era marked the beginning of the Phanerozoic Eon, 541 million years ago. Marine organisms dominated life in the early Paleozoic era. Later on, there were significant changes that marked the departure from the barrenness of the Precambrian Eon, when plants and animals didn't exist. By the middle of the Paleozoic era, plants and animals had evolved and were able to live and produce on land. The development of lungs gave animals the ability to survive outside the sea. The first animals to live on land were known as air-breathing tetrapods, that is, 4-legged animals such as amphibians. Reptiles then evolved from amniotes. Afterward, birds and mammals evolved from reptiles. Towards the end of the Paleozoic era, the Earth had some of the most extensive forests in its history. An interesting fact here: the fossilized remains of the Carboniferous period became the coal that powered the modern-day Industrial Revolution. The Paleozoic era featured 10 periods. The first one was the Cambrian period. Cambridge period. The Cambrian period marked the beginning of the Paleozoic era between 541 and 485 million years ago. This period also marked the presence of most animal phyla. Mollusks, gastropods, echinoderms, trilobites, brachiopods, and nautiloids covered the seafloor. The most significant appearance during the Cambrian period was Picaia, the most primitive known vertebrate. Researchers from the University of Cambridge, University of Toronto, and the Royal Ontario Museum, Rome, confirmed that the 505-million-year-old creature is the ancestor of all vertebrates, including humans. Despite the significant appearance of most animal phyla in the Cambrian period, the biodiversity level was low until the Ordovician period. Vertebrates and invertebrates became more diverse at family, species, and genus levels during the Great Ordovician biodiversification event. One significant evolutionary development during the Ordovician period was reef-building organisms, most probably colonial coral. Corals used calcite to build enormous structures that mimicked modern reefs like the Great Barrier Reef near Australia. These reefs were home to thriving ecosystems of organisms that hid in, crawled over, and swam around them. Their preservation potential also makes them important to paleontologists. By the end of the Ordovician, There was a mass extinction of these vertebrates and invertebrates after sea levels dropped as a result of a small ice age. However, life returned during the Silurian period. This period's major evolutionary advancement was the appearance of jaws in the forward pair of gill arches in sharks and bony fishes. Fishes were able to explore new food sources due to hinged jaws. In addition to jaws and fish, Silurian rocks offer the first evidence of land-dwelling plants and animals. Then, there was the Devonian period, which is also known as the Age of Fishes because of the rise in jawed, lobe-finned, and plated fishes. The first lobe-finned terrestrial fish, named Tiktaalik, emerged about 385 million years ago. It represents a transition fossil from fish to early tetrapods. Many fossils from the Devonian period are more tetrapod-like than fish-like, but they were not fully terrestrial. The first fully terrestrial or land-walking tetrapod did not arrive until the Mississippian period. But before this period arrived, there was another mass extinction event by the end of the Devonian period. This event hit reef-building organisms the hardest, triggering dramatic changes in marine ecosystems. By the Mississippian period, the Earth saw its first fully formed tetrapod. Tetrapods then evolved into two major groups, amphibians and amniotes, from a common ancestor. While both groups could breathe air and live on land, amphibians needed water to nurture their soft eggs. On the other hand, amniotes, the first reptiles, had nothing to worry about. With their hard-shelled eggs that had no risk of drying out, they reproduced entirely on land. The Mississippian period represents the early Carboniferous period. The later Carboniferous period was marked by the Pennsylvanian period, which saw the highest levels of oxygen ever known. Forests and swamps dominated the landscape. This period also witnessed the development of amphibians and amniotes. However, amniotes had a greater terrestrial reach, and reptiles diversified because they could reproduce in non-aquatic environments. This booming life led to cooling temperatures as carbon dioxide left the atmosphere. These cooler temperatures soon led to less productive forests and an ice age known as the Karoo glaciation. This glacial event stayed active until the early Permian period. By the Permian period, the supercontinent known as Pangaea had formed after a series of tectonic events grouped the major continents together as one. The formation of the supercontinent caused a drier climate and more diversification by the reptiles. In fact, the reptile groups that developed in this warmer climate ultimately radiated into dinosaurs. Another group known as the synapsids evolved into mammals. Pelycosaurs are the first group of synapsids to exhibit mammalian features such as well-differentiated dentition, premolars, molars, incisors, and highly developed canines. Starting in the late Permian period, a second group of synapsids, known as therapsids, or mammal-like reptiles, evolved and became the ancestors of mammals. This period marked the end of the Paleozoic era. But the era didn't just end quietly. The Paleozoic era ended with the largest mass extinction in Earth's history, the same event I referred to as the Permian mass extinction at the beginning of this video. An estimated 70% of terrestrial vertebrates and 96% of marine species went extinct 252 million years ago. That was life before the Age of Dinosaurs. Following the Permian mass extinction, Earth ushered in the Mesozoic era, famously known as the Age of Reptiles, including those giant, scary beasts, dinosaurs. Dinosaurs went into extinction along with the Mesozoic era 66 million years ago in an event known as the KPG mass extinction. 75% of plant species, 90% of plankton species, and all the dinosaurs went extinct during this event. This extinction event ushered in the Cenozoic era, also known as the Age of Mammals, including the early humans known as Homo habilis, about 2.8 million years ago, and modern humans known as Homo sapiens, about 300,000 years ago. Modern humans have become the only creatures capable of building cars, constructing skyscrapers, engineering aircraft, and influencing nature as climate change shows. Do you think the Earth still has more evolutions in it? Do you think there's a possibility of this era going extinct? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons to be notified of more informative videos like this one. You can also share the video with your friends and family who are interested in learning new things about our planet.